Alright, welcome back to Lecture 2 for GISC 1336. These are our Practicum lectures. We're going through parts 21 through 29 today. So let's go ahead and get started. If you haven't already, go ahead and open up Drawing 21. Today we're going to be going over Subdivide existing parcels. So, like we've done in the past, under our Create Design section, we want to go to Partial Creation Tools. And then we want to go ahead and make sure we have our parameters open here. We want to set our minimum area for parcel sizing to 14,375 feet. We want a minimum frontage of 60 feet, and we're going to change the frontage offset to 20 feet. For the question about use maximum depth, let's go ahead and set that to no. And then for our multiple solution preference, we're going to always go with use shortest frontage. For our automatic layouts, we do want an automatic layout mode enabled, and we want to redistribute any remainder of frontage or area that we have. So with that set, let's go ahead and go over our creation options. We're going to start off with a swing line creation. So here we can see all the defaults settings for it. We're going to leave it as that. Hit OK. And now we see we have our Create Parcel by Layout option loaded. So the first parcel that we're going to want to subdivide is going to be Property 3. So let's click on Property 3, and then we need to select a starting point. So let's come over here to this fenced area, and we're going to identify the end point of this curve. It'll be close to the middle of it. Then we want to go ahead and follow the boundary between Property 3 and Property 2 around until we get to having approximately equal sides or lengths between the arcs. So once you feel like you've got a good location, go ahead and pick it. If you need snapping nodes down here, you can go ahead and make sure you have nearest turned on, if that helps you with the snapping. But once you do that, we see this is going to be our primary frontage area. Then we need to specify our swing point from which the parcels are going to be populated. So we're going to pick this kind of southwest corner for Property 3 around the area that we're working. So let's pick that. And here we see we have our 3 parcels that are going to be automatically created. So we're going to go ahead and say yes and accept those results. Now we see we have properties 5, 6, and 7 loaded. Moving forward, we want to continue to subdivide Property 3, but instead of a swing line, we're going to go ahead and do a slide line this time. So again, we want to make sure our settings all stay the same. And then let's get started. So the parcel that we'll subdivide, like I said before, is going to be Property 3. That subdivision is going to start where Property 3, 2, and 7 meet. So let's pick that corner, and then we're going to trace around this drive all the way around until we can meet this final curve on Property 2 and 3. So let's identify where that endpoint is. There we go. Now we need to specify the angle at which our parcels are going to create. So we're going to go ahead and follow this southern line of Property 7. We're going to pick that where we started and then bring it back through. Click right there, and now we see we have all of our parcels automatically created. So we're going to accept that result as well. Now we still have one larger chunk of land, Property 4 over here. So for this subdivision, we're going to go ahead and leave it on our slide line create. We're going to select Property 4. Our starting point is going to be where Properties 4, 5, and 2 meet. So pick that corner. Then make sure we follow along the curve, not go the long way around, until we kind of get to the end of that curve. So select that endpoint, and then we need to specify an angle. And that angle is going to be, right here along this adjoining line between properties 4 and 5. Let's go ahead and select your point of beginning, trace that down along that adjoining boundary, select that endpoint. Let's review our results. Now we see we have 3 more parcels that the developers will be able to squeeze homes into. So now we see we have property 4, 26, and 27 created in this area. And that, my friends, is how we end up creating overly developed neighborhoods. Something that you're eventually going to get involved with in your surveying career. It's kind of a rite of passage is to get through some lot and block surveying and creation. So this tool is going to really simplify designing a lot of developments and subdivisions within Civil3D. So you can go ahead and hit just escape and then enter to close out our tools. And that is going to conclude part 21. Alright, this is going to be the start of part 22, associating parcels with sites. So if you don't mind, so once you have drawing 22 open, we're going to go ahead and start off by creating an object. So whether you want to use polylines or just the rectangle draw function, we're going to come in and we're going to draw something relatively rectangular in our property. So, did that wrong. Let's click it. First corner, second corner. There we go. So we can see I have an object here. So then let's go back to create design parcel and then create parcel from objects this time. So we're going to go ahead and select the object we created, we just drew. So I have this rectangle. I have it. It was a rectangle, so it's selected all at once. I can go ahead and press enter. And then I'm going to get this create parcels from objects dialog to pop up. So here we're going to have to pick what site we want it on. We're going to go ahead and leave it on development. We're going to select property again for our parcel style. And then we're going to confirm that there's a check mark next to erase existing entities. So once you have all those confirmed, go ahead, click OK. And now you can see we have property 1 here as our new object, and property 28 was the remainder of the old property 1. So once you've seen all that, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take property 1 only. So hit escape to make sure you deselect everything, just pick property 1. We're going to have this toolbar open. So it's the parcel property 1 toolbar or tab. Come over here to modify and then select move to site. So right now when we created it, we put it in the development site. Say we want to move this parcel to our survey site. So we're taking property 1 from parcels on the development site, moving it over to survey site. You'll notice immediately that our property 28 label has moved over here, and this label for the property has changed. So what happened is we've essentially taken that parcel out of our development, and we're going to move it, and we moved it into a different one. So let's go ahead now and take property 1 again, go modify, move to site, and let's move it back to development. So we moved it previously to our survey site, let's move it back over to our development site. Now, as you can see, we have property 29 here is this parcel, property 28 is this one, as it just simply updated. And we've put everything back to where it originally was. And just like that, you have now seen how you can associate parcels with sites. It could be done with any of these parcels. You can select multiple parcels at a time if you need to move a whole section, which is going to be the most common way that I would start using sites for sections within a subdivision. All right, that concludes part 22, associate parcels with the site. All right, this is the start of part 23, work with parcels, go ahead and open up Drawing 23 if you haven't already. During this exercise, we're going to be learning about different parts of a parcel. So go ahead and zoom in to Parcel 13. It's going to be located down here. All right, and we're going to view the different types of labels associated with the parcel. Oh, I thought I had these preloaded. So what we're going to do instead, real quick, we'll label them. Let's go ahead and click on Property 13, and then in the Parcel Property 13 tab up here, go ahead and click Add Labels, Multiple Segment, and then pick Property 13. Go ahead and leave it as going clockwise, and just like that, we now have our labels visible. So we can see the different type of labels that we have associated with our parcel. We have parcel area labels. We also have the parcel line segment labels. And then lastly, we have our parcel curve segment labels up here. So again, this is the area label. It's the name of the parcel. These are the segments that we have. And these are our curve segments that we have. Only one for Property 13. Next, we're going to look at erasing our labels. So let's go ahead and select Property 13, and then type E, hit Enter, and then you're going to notice that the parcel is not going to be deleted. And that's because it's going to be a protected item that was generated. Now, if we go over to Property 1, say we try the same thing, select that rectangle that was created from an object, type in E, press Enter, we're also going to see that it doesn't delete the property on its own. But if instead of selecting the label, imagine I select just the boundary, do the same thing, E, Enter, we are able to remove that boundary, even though our label didn't change. Excuse me, our label did change. Property 1 is gone, and now we saw Property 28 kind of take over. So again, press Escape to get out of any keys or any commands you currently have open. You can press Property 28. You see it is a complete boundary, and there is no longer a cutout in the center of that property. That lets you know that there is no hole in this parcel anymore, and the parcel that was created from an object is something that can be more easily deleted, unlike our parcels that are going to be created automatically. This is going to be similar to survey points and COGO points, where while both can be deleted, survey points take a lot more intentional effort in order to remove them from your projects. All right, so just with that kind of goes over the basics of identifying our parcel labels. We saw how we can create them, how they can be edited, and then over here we saw how certain parcels created from objects can be deleted, while automatically created parcels cannot. Alright, so next part is part 29, labeling parcels. During this part, we're going to learn about the detailed method for labeling the parts of a parcel, which includes labeling the individual segments, multiple segments at the same time, changing parcel area labels, and applying the appropriate line and curve label styles. So if you haven't already, go ahead and open up Drawing 24. And then we're going to go over to the Annotate tab. Excuse me. We're going to go to Labels and Tables. Over here. And then we're going to click Add Labels. So that'll open up this drop-down menu. And then we're going to go over to Parcel, and we're going to select Add Parcel Labels. So that's going to open up this Add Label dialog. And then what we're going to do here is we're just going to review some of the settings. We see that we're trying to add labels to parcels as our feature. And then for our label type, it's going to say single segment. And if we were to drop down that menu, we see we have single segment, multiple, replace area, or replace area. We're going to leave it at single segment for now. Alright, so then go ahead and then zoom in on your map down to property 11. You can see currently it's unlabeled. Back in our add label dialog, we're going to go into the line label style, and we're going to set it to bearing over distance if it's not already set that way. And then for our curve label style, we want to make sure that it's set to delta over length and radius. Alright, so once you have that complete, go ahead and click add, and then you see you're going to have a prompt come up to pick the point or entity. So when you're going through these label locations, then we're going to pick all of our different boundaries for property 11. So we'll start with this one. That obviously is going to be a line label. We're going to come over here, click this, another line label, and we want to make sure that we capture both of these curves and then round it out with these last two lines. That's going to show you how you can pick one at a time each single segment. We've done so for property 11. So let's go back to our add labels dialog. We're going to switch from single segment to multiple segment. And again, we're going to maintain the same prompts that we had before. But this time when we zoom out, we're going to go over to property 12. We're going to go ahead and select property 12. Oh, make sure you hit add so that it changes what it is it's looking for you to select. Otherwise, it won't let you select the label because you're still trying to select a single segment. So again, make sure you change label type to multiple segment, click add, and then select property 12. We're going to go ahead and have our labels go in a clockwise direction. And then you can see all of these labels that have now been generated for property 12. We're going to go ahead and repeat that same process for property 14, property 15, and property 16. So just like that, we've had all of our labels generated for our parcels. If you're more familiar with AutoCAD, kind of think of this, this labeling as dimensioning. It's essentially the exact same thing, just specific for surveying. So that's how we do our segments. What if we wanted to adjust our area labels? Again, right now, property 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, those are the area labels. So it's not necessarily talking about this is the area of our parcel, but this is the label used within the definition of our area. So let's change our label type to replace area. And then we're going to change our area label style to name area and perimeter. And go ahead and click add so that we can activate that command. Then we're going to come over to property 13, click it, and then hit enter. And now we see we've updated our label to include the property name, the actual area of the parcel, and the length of the perimeter. So once you've got that completed, you can press enter. It'll move you on to the next label. Press enter a second time, and that goes ahead and ends the tool for you. And with that, we have concluded part 24, labeling parcels. Again, labels, annotation, very powerful to expedite a lot of your drafting processes. Seeing people who aren't familiar with any of these things try to type it all out one by one, it's an absolutely insane process, so please don't ever do that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to part 25. All right, and this is the start of part 25, creating parcel tables. So in this part, we're going to learn how to create parcel tables, how the creation of a parcel table will convert your segment labels into tag labels, and anything else that we might stumble across, potential errors along the way. So go ahead and open up drawing 25. We're going to go back into our annotate menu. Then we're going to go to labels and tables again, and this time we're going to go to add tables, parcel, and then add segment. So you're going to get this creation dialog to open up. We're going to review the settings that are available and then click the pick on screen tool to select the parcel segment labels that we want in our table. So we can see here there are lots of different labels or styles that we can select by as an option if we have existing tags or categories that we want to select by. But for this one, we're going to go ahead and go with no tags selected and click the pick on screen tool. So go ahead and check that now, or click it now. And then we're going to go through and we're going to select parcels 11 through 16 that we've been working with so far. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. And excuse me, but we're not going to be selecting the label area label. We need to select the segment label. So let's go ahead and work our way through those. You can draw a window, and that will give you all segments within it. Just make sure you don't capture anything that we don't want. So you see highlighted in blue, we have the segments we're looking for. None of the parcel area or point labels are selected. We've got all that. Go ahead and press enter. And you're going to get this pop-up asking if we want to convert child styles. We're going to go ahead and convert all selected label styles to tag mode. So go ahead and pick this option. And you can see here we have 24 tags selected. That number should be 25. So we need to come back on screen. It looks like we missed this one. Sorry, you can't just add to it. You have to actually do it one more time. So let's just do that large selection, enter. We'll convert all of our selected label styles to tag mode. And now we have 25 tags appropriately selected. So once you have that, go ahead and click OK. And we need to just pick anywhere open to drop our table. And we see here we've created our parcel line and curve table. If we had picked a little bit further away, it wouldn't have done it in 2 rows. So I'm going to go ahead and actually go back and undo all that and do it one more time so that we can have it as one row. So select tags, click, select, enter. Again, convert all selected styles in tag mode. 25 are in there. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to scroll over and click a little bit further away this time. And it still gave me 2. What did I do wrong? Oh, of course. I apologize. I know what I did wrong this time. One more time, and I'll show you where I made that mistake. Add tables, parcel, add segment, pick on screen, select all of our labels, press enter once all 25 are selected, convert them to tag mode, and you'll see right here our maximum rows per table is currently set to 20. We have 25 tags selected, so that's why we kept getting a second row with 5 with our last 5 labels. So I'm going to go ahead and up that to 25. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to drop this down. And now we see our table only includes, excuse me, there's only one table and all 25 of our labels are included there. So that's the quickest way that you're going to be able to make your parcel line and curve tables. if you're curious about what you would want this table for, what it's going to do, it's going to allow a lot more simplification. As you can see on our drawing here, we don't have the cumbersome amount of text labeling each one of these. Instead, we have specifically all of our curves and lines now marked or denoted with what they're going to correspond with directly on this table. So it helps improve the readability of our drawings, and when you're working on a drawing, that might not seem as relevant, but when you're turning to go and create your actual plats, or your drawings for your blueprints, this is going to be something that's going to be really important. And having tools to create these tables, automatically create these tables for you, really expedites that process and saves a lot of labor hours. So that concludes part 25, creating parcel tables, and let's move on. All right, this is the start of part 26, renumber and rename parcels. And that's exactly what we're going to learn how to do, how to renumber and rename parcel area labels. So go ahead and open up drawing 26 if you haven't already. First thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in to property 27. It's going to be up here in this kind of northwest corner. We've got property 27 here. Let's go ahead and select that parcel label. See, it's highlighted in blue now, so we know it's selected. Then up here on this tab, we're going to go over to our parcel contextual tab, modify panel, and then click renumber rename. Right here, that's going to open up this dialog. Then in the renumber rename parcels dialog, we're going to choose renumber, and then just leaving our defaults as 1, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. So we're going to start selecting our parcels in the order that we've talked about. So we're going to start with property 27. Then we're going to move over to property 6. Then come down to property 12. Over to property 14. Up to property 3. Over to property 25. And then last but not least, we're going to click inside of property 2. And what this is doing is essentially doing a line select, which you can see I made a mistake right here. When I went from property 27 to property 6, that line crosses over into property 2. So I can hit Control Z. It'll let me go back. I can now redraw that line and keeping it outside of property 2 and making sure that I'm doing a better line select without overlapping any parcels in an order that I'm not wanting. So once you get to that last one, go ahead and double click for your endpoint and then press enter. And then you're going to see that everybody gets selected. Once they're all selected, go ahead and press enter one more time. And now we can see our parcels have been renumbered. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way around to 25 here. And then with this drive being property 26. What this is going to be useful for is as you're creating your parcels, whether manually or automatically, the order isn't necessarily going to be what you want it to be as a final product. So by renumbering and renaming our parcels, this is a very, very quick way for us to kind of get it more done quickly in an organized manner to create a cleaner and more readable end product. Another thing to notice, or no, never mind, not yet. So that's it for part 26. Let's go ahead and hit escape to make sure that we don't have anything else going, and now we can move on. All right, this will be the start of part 27, create and modify parcel styles. Here we're going to learn about parcel styles and how to create new parcel styles. Also, lastly, how to modify our existing part styles. So let's go ahead and open up drawing 27. Then we're going to come back over to our tool space. We're going to go into the settings tab. Then we're going to go ahead and expand the parcel category. So then once we're there, we're going to go ahead and check on our parcel styles. So let's expand that final folder. Now we see we have basic, open space, property, road, single family, and standard parcel styles all available to us. Let's right click on property and go into edit so that we can start editing the property parcel style. You'll have this dialog open, and this is going to be where changes to the existing parcel style could be completed. We don't need to make any at this time, so go ahead and click cancel. Now, instead of editing a parcel style, we'll right click on a folder for parcel styles and select new. This is going to open up the prompts to create new parcel styles. So let's start by setting the name of our new parcel style to park. Then we'll move over to the design tab, and we're going to uncheck the observe fill distance box, because that's not something that we're going to need to be worried about. Then we'll move on to the section tab, and then we're going to confirm that the parcel segments marker style is still set to no markers. It is, we're good. We see there are other defaults in there, but we're not changing that. Let's move on to display. Then we see we have parcel segments marked as visible, but our parcel fill area is not. So we're going to go ahead and click that light bulb to turn on our parcel fill area. Let's go ahead and adjust the colors of our two components. So we're going to set them both to be green. If you can see, you can pick 92, that'll work. We're going to do that for our fill, and then, for our segment, and then for our area fill, we're going to set that one to 90. 90 is, you can type the color here if you need it. It'll automatically populate it for you, or you can find it on the chart. Whatever is most convenient for you. Now to adjust our hatch, we're going to come down here. Right now we see the parcel area fill is set as user single. Let's click on that. It's going to open up our hatch pattern dialog. We see we can change it from user defined to predefined, and then we can change our pattern name to utilize grass, because again we're going to be looking at parks. So here we go for grass. If you have custom ones, you'd be able to browse to those locations. Like pretty much every other part of this lecture, your office might have specifications on what type of hatches to fill, what colors to use, that are specific to their operations. So keep that in mind. Not everything's always just going to be the defaults, and not every office is going to utilize the same styles. But once you have that done, go ahead and click OK. And then over here for our scale, right now it's set to 1. We're going to up that to 10. You can press enter and that'll load it for 10. Then when that's done, we can click over to the summary and expand design and information, and we can see some of the basic settings. Go ahead and click OK after that, or apply and then OK. So now we see we have park as an available parcel style. So let's go ahead and select parcel 25. So that's going to go back to this one up here. Once we have that selected in the parcel tab up here, we're going to go to modify, and then we're going to select parcel properties. So once parcel properties is open, we're going to come back over to information. We're going to change that object style from property to the park style that we just created. So go ahead and hit apply and then OK. And we'll click off of it, or hit escape to clear a selection. And we see that that parcel is no longer just a simple property boundary, but it is showing the hatch fill for grass and the green colors that we set. So let's come back over to our tool space. We're going to go over to the Prospector tab, and we want to open up our sites. Then we see we have development and survey site in here. Let's go ahead and open up development. We're going to come down to Parcels. Go ahead and right click on that and open up the properties dialog. Here, very similar to how we changed our drawing order for our points, we can change the drawing order for our parcel styles. So I want our properties to be on top of everything else. So let's go ahead and use that white up arrow button to move property on top of park. Then go ahead and hit apply and OK. Now you see that dark green border that we had for our park style has been replaced, and we have our neighboring property boundary lines drawn on top of it. That's what's visible. And just as we moved it up, we can go back, go to properties, park, move that back up, turn it on, and now we see our park is on top of our property. So that's all that is. Again, it's going to be adjusting our excuse me, it's going to be adjusting our drawing order as well as our label style. So the other thing too here, you see this is park 25 now, not property 25. So they're all parcels, but we assign unique labels to them based on the type of parcel that they are. So that's another quick way to update that information via label styles versus having to go and manually updating things. So with that, it concludes part 27, creating creating parcel styles and modifying parcel styles. So this will be the start of part 28, creating and modifying parcel styles. So now we're going to learn about our parcel styles, and we're going to learn how to create new parcel styles and modify existing parcel styles. So go ahead and open up drawing 28. Then let's go to our tool space on the settings tab. This time we're going to expand our parcel category again. And we're going to come down to label styles, then go into area, and then come down to parcel name, right click that to open up the menu and hit copy. So that's going to create or open up a new dialog, and it's going to allow us to adjust the settings for this copy, this new copy that we're creating. So let's change the name on this information tab to parcel name dash square foot dash AC dash perimeter. Again, I know it seems like a long name, but we want those to be clear so that users know exactly what that label name is going to be. So when that's done, let's remove the content and the description box as well, because that's no longer accurate. Then we're going to move over to the General tab. We're going to review the settings we have here. We see we have standard text styles. It is visible. We're using the cprop text layer to store these labels. It's going to orient around its object of reference. It is plain readable, and we're not going to flip anchors with text. Well, that's reviewed. Go ahead and move over to the Layout tab. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this name from parcel number to be number, square foot, AC, acreage, and perimeter. So when that's done, go ahead and then scroll down to the text contents name. Click on that cell and then click the 3 ellipses button. That'll open up our text components editor. Once you have this, we're going to go ahead and select name CP, and we're going to get rid of that right away. But imagine we didn't want to get rid of that and we wanted to keep the name in there. Under properties, we can go back to name, hit that white right arrow, and it'll put it back for us. So if you delete things that are pre-existing, it's not hard to get them back. You just have to know what you deleted. So go ahead and press enter, then type in area followed by a semicolon, and then include a space after that colon. Once that's done, come back over to the properties, go down to Parcel Area, and then click that white right arrow. So again, we've now added the tags to include the parcel area in square feet with a precision of 0.01 square feet. That'll read for every parcel where this label is applied. And then just to ensure that users, when they're reading this, know that it's going to be in square feet, we're going to go ahead and click to the end of our text, hit space, and then type in capital SQFT for square foot. So now we'll have units included in our drawing. Then go ahead and press enter. Go back to our properties, and then we're going to go down to parcel area. Once you have that prompted, make sure that our units are going to be in acres. Press that white arrow to move it over. Then, just like we did with square foot, we want to go ahead and click towards the end of that, space AC, so that users reading this know that we're talking about acreage. Then we're going to press enter one more time. We're going to type in perimeter, put in a colon, hit space. Over on our property areas, we're going to go into parcel perimeter. We're going to make sure that our unit is feet. Hit that white arrow to load that text in. And just like with everything else, we're going to click at the end of that and add our symbol for foot, so 1 apostrophe. Then we're going to go ahead and go over back to our format. We see here our justification was previously listed as center. We're going to move it to be right justified. We see how that moves everything over. Go ahead and click OK. Now we see a sample of our labeling up here. We want to go ahead and hit apply, then OK. And then we need to go back into our tool space, open up the Prospector tab. Then we want to go to our Sites category and expand Development. We need to, excuse me. We need to open up our Parcels section. And here we see all of our parcels listed. We want to go to Park 1 explicitly. We want to right click on it, go to Properties. Then we're going to move over to Composition. And we're going to pick a new area selection label style. So we're going to switch from parcel name to our new one that we just created. Parcel name, square footage, acreage, perimeter. Go ahead and hit apply and OK. Then let's zoom into our parcels. So here we see Park 1 with right justified labels showing our parcel name, our area in square feet and acreage, and then our perimeter in feet. You'll also notice that it kind of creates a shadow for the hatch so that it's not blocking it. But if you hover over it, it'll add a transparency to its background, and you'll see the hatch beneath it. And that concludes part 28, creating and modifying parcel styles. All right, home stretch. This is going to be part 29, deleting parcels. It's also going to be our last part for our lecture 2 practicum. So in the part 29, we're going to learn about deleting parcels. So go ahead and open up drawing 29 if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and zoom into this property 28 down here, this rectangle, our southwest portion of our site. We're going to go ahead and click on the object. So the object being the boundary of that perimeter. We're going to type in E to open up our erase command. Press enter. You're immediately going to see that property 28 is now gone. We do only have the label for properties 27 shows up here. Another place you can see that is in your Prospector section of your tool space. You can open up your sites, go to development, and open up parcels. You see we go straight from property 27 to 29. We no longer have a property 28. So next what we're going to do is we're going to come back up, make sure you're on the Home tab. Then we're going to come over to our Create Design. We're going to go Parcel and open up our Parcel Creation Tools. And right here, we're going to go to the Delete Sub-Entity tool. We're going to go ahead and click that, and we're going to get a prompt to select something. So we're going to go to this boundary line between property 27 and property 29. We're going to select that, and now we're going to see that boundary is gone, and we've gone back to the more senior parcel, so that'd be property 27. Then let's go ahead and navigate up here, up to where we have northwest corner of our site. And we see this this boundary line right here for property 26. We're going to go ahead and select that point. So go ahead and zoom in there, select that boundary, and now we see that parcel label is gone. Then instead of deleting, we're going to come over here to our Union tool. I'm going to do Parcel Union. We're able to select property 27. And then also select property 30. So make sure you have both of those selected. Once you do, go ahead and press enter. Now you can see if we get out of our tools, if we just select property 27, it's that whole area. This line here is independent from that parcel. So if we go back into our parcel creation tools, we can do instead, I'll show you now. We can just select this, type E for our erase command, press enter, and it'll pull that segment out for you right away. So we saw a few different ways to delete parcels and parcel segments. One, if we do unions of multiple parcels, no longer relevant boundary pieces can be simply erased. Parcels that we had created from objects, like our box in the beginning, those ones can be deleted just with the erase command. Other ones that might have been created through automated processes, they can be deleted if we remove an exterior perimeter from our site that essentially eliminates that parcel from being a boundary at this point via our partial creation tools options for delete sub-entities. So with that concludes part 29. And with the completion of part 29, you've also completed lecture 2 practicums for points, lines, and polygons. There's nothing that you submit for the lecture, so you can go ahead and close CAD out. If you go into Canvas and you go to our course, you'll see down here that we're going to have our recordings. I'll get this last part loaded soon. You also have your actual Lab 2 that's going to be based on Lecture 2. That's going to have questions and a practical exercise for you to go through. Again, it's out of 100 points, but it's also going to be unlimited attempts. So if you do it the first time and you struggle with it, it's okay. You can go back and resubmit. There also isn't any kind of time limit. So it's just going to be a set of multiple choice questions based on parts 1 through 29 that we've gone through, and then one shorter practical exercise where you get to apply the knowledge learned from Lecture 2. All right, that concludes Lecture 2, Points, Lines, and Polygons. Have a good one.